All right, guys, Sam here with you on November 13th. It's Tuesday, November 13th, and I'm kind of late getting to this one. Tuesdays and Thursdays now, as many of you know, we're running live day trading in the S&P, and that kept me busy today. So anyway, so by request, right, again, it's always by request of our members. Here we look at eBay. So I've got the daily chart of eBay here, and we can see it's a pretty nice looking five-wave structure off of this low. So we're going back to 09, right? So that is the low of 09 here. So coming off of that, I mean, this is when Elliott is most useful. So we can, so I've got this channel on it here, which we have just broken, which is kind of interesting. Now, obviously, we've gone way beyond it here. So there's a little bit to we can learn here. So the 1, 2, 3, this gets a little tricky in here. It looks like we get an ABC. It's kind of an odd shape here, but I'm going to show you why I think that's more likely to be the correction. Right. So ideally, right, if you're having an expansion in the B, you want that to be an expanded flat. This is a little deeper, but I'll show you why I think we've got that. This is only a function of where's the 4, right? So if this were the 3 high, that looks more like an A. So you're going to go A, B, C. Doesn't look as good as A, then an A, B, C into the B. Yeah, it's not ideal in terms of the Elliott structure there, but the 3 legs of it plays better, I think, right? So we can, so the 1, 2 looks solid. So if you're using your tools and just going, all right, well, I can, at the very least, I can look for anything that would be technical for my third here. Well, we come up here, we get through the 2618. Now that's an extreme for a third wave here. We don't get through by a lot, but enough to where you'd be anticipating some sort of a retracement off of that. So I'm more inclined to think that, but then it's also the subdivision within this wave. So right, if this is going to be an impulse, we got to get some sort of this is a little tricky in here. This looks more like we complete that here, whether it's, it might be, does it matter? Well, so same thing, right? We look here and go up to the 1, down to the 2, come across, where sorry, so where is it? So is it here? Is it here? It looks more like you go here and you go A, B, C, and then we come up here and we cap here, so we get the 2618. So it looks more to me like that's the better fit. So then you think, well, if that 4 is in here and we go to this 3 high, well, here's where you'd look for the 4, right at the 38. Now we don't quite make it. So we come back to all of this congestion here is very common, right? So we come back to this congestion here, and we find that support there eventually through all of this sideways action. And that's 2016, so that's the beginning. What is that? That's February of 16. Yeah, right. Well, we all know what happened about that time. So you look here and you think, okay, well, I got 1, 2. It looks like I've got an ABC. There's my 4. That's right where I'd like it. So from that, even if you're not sure about the 3, is it here? Is it here? Is it here? Coming off of these pivots here, it sure looks like I get a good 1, 2. So pulling that off, this looks like I get a 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, of course, just good habit, wick off the 1. We don't threaten that. So if I look here, pulling from, well, I do 2 ways. So I would look from the 2 to the 3 right there. So right where you'd look for it. Yeah, we get a little through the 38, but then we get right to, we blow right through first target and get to second target. So then you might be looking additionally, what else can I use there to help me identify this? Again, at this point, it doesn't really matter because we've got a high. Was it technical? And we're through the 100, but then additionally, you might look for because you had this kicker in the 5th, you might look for a relationship between the start of the 1, the pivot of the 3. It's not to the tick, so you kind of look at it and you go, shit, why does it stop there? Well, right, so clearly we've got an extension here. We get, you can look here, the RSI is going to be absolutely pinned, but note we don't get a new high here in the oscillator. All right, so this tied to this, actually this wave here. So even despite that big move, look at that divergence we get here. So it kind of makes you think, well, you know, is that the 3? But then you can't finish it that way. So just the point being, I've got some pretty substantial oscillator divergence there between 2 prior swings with a really substantial increase in the price, but nothing to match it in the oscillator. So when I see something like this where we've had so much of a throw over, so I can't get median lines on that, right? So even if I use this down here, none of my oscillator, yeah, look here. All right, so just that first 1, 2, that is absolutely unbelievable. Let me dial that in, because let's not be sloppy with that. So let's get right on that low, right on that pivot, right on that pivot. Oh boy, just missed it. Just missed it. Well, so of course the 80% is realized right here, right? First time, got it again. Almost gets it again. So you continue to look there and you go, shit, why does it stop there? There's always a reason. And if you can't figure it out, you got to keep looking, because I promise you there's a reason. So we go, okay, swing low. How about through my proposed 3 high? I know there can often be a relationship between that distance here from where we start through the 3 high to the 4 low. Get it right on there. All right, so there it is. We've got this right on there. Let's get them dialed in. All right, there it is. Okay, so where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Why? Why is it stopping there? There's always a reason. You argue with me all you'd like. I promise you, there's always a reason. So why do we have a major pivot here? So it's 100%. So again, that sort of you lean into this as your 3 from the start of the 1 through the pivot of the 3, projected from the 4 low. Parity. Always a reason. So the other thing here, if I look here, so my first instinct when I saw that was to go, that doesn't fit. Can't get median lines on it. So I'll start here, since unlike median lines where I can put more levels on it. So the first thing I see here, that's good. I've got the 3rd. So I could do the exact same thing again and clone again. Just pulling these up, going, where am I? What's happening there? Is it here? Too much. Here? Well, that's still pretty good throw over. Right? So again, all I'm doing is just cloning and just dragging them up. So throw over, not uncommon to see that, right? That's just a push to, so is it the push to get to that pivot? Maybe, all right, how do we know, right? But what we can see, so we know we have a technical pivot here. So the odds are this is a significant high, right? So given that, let's pull some of this off here. Even this, yeah, still allowing for that throw over here, same idea. So where's the trade? All right, well, we've just so we had that throw over as I was just showing you here. So this is not uncommon. You get throw over on one side, you'll get the same on the other. All right, so if we measured this, let's see if I clone that. Don't be surprised. All right, there's a couple of ticks off of it. This is common that you'll see that this throw over distance will be repeated here. It looks like it misses by a few cents. All right, so it's not uncommon to see that. So question being, okay, great. Okay, that's all particularly great if I was in that. So how does that help me now? Well, if you're looking at it now, we know what's likely happening here. We've got a completed impulsive structure. It's done. This reaction, no question, that is done. So what's next? Well, let's pull some of this off, as it really doesn't matter much to us now. So I've got a completed 5-way sequence. Doesn't matter if I'm looking at the 1 minute or the 1 month. I complete a 5-wave. I'm dragging from swing low to swing high, and I'm looking for something at the 50. Now, front run could be. All right, how far are we? That's 80 cents is possible, but does this look like a correction that's complete? All right, so my hunch would be here at first glance that it's not uncommon for the A wave to be a straight shot to the 50. Now you'd be looking for a B here, maybe at another 50, and then potentially now you'd have a target down here. So drawing that up, if we just on the assumption here, just what's the obvious, right? So often the obvious will be what you're looking for. So the ABC. So if we're coming back up for that B wave, if the low is in, and we don't know for sure that it is, but this would be the area where you'd be looking for it, right? We know 50 like a 2. We're looking for it between the 50 and the 618. Here's my algo target down here, right at the 618. So there's a potential trade getting constructed. Now, of course, I don't know where this pivot is, but if I get a pivot up here in this range, I'm certainly going to put median lines on it. So you look at that and you think, okay, well, that's there. We know that's there, but are we going to do that? Maybe not enough time. So then you have to look at that and think, well, perhaps a modifier. So we might go to shift or modified shift, which of course I've shown you many times is the same as a channel. So again, if I don't have this pivot yet, but if I get something like that, right, we know the modified shift is identical to a channel where the center line of the channel is the equivalent of your median line. So this now starts to look interesting. We get something like that. So I'd be looking, so where's the trade? Well, it's not that you couldn't trade from the A into the B. That's actually that's a pretty good move right there. So 26 to the next 50 is 36. So you got $10 move there. It's it's a little bit. Right. So ideally, you'd wait for the B and take the short, right? So it's, a lot of people are, if you're not comfortable with the short side of it, an option trade is the other alternative here for eBay. Because if we go 10 points higher, it gets tougher to take that short. So let me pull that off here and see if there's something within that. Now you're going intraday. I would tell you on equities, you get less reliability when you go inside the daily. So here, this certainly doesn't look like it's a completed correction. So even breaking that down is going to be a little tricky. So let's pull this off because it's really it's a straight shot. So I might look for the wolf range on this. So let's get our wolf range. Let's see what that looks like. Where's my hero? All right, so can we range the market? That's kind of interesting. All right, so here's the first move. Well, you really get a couple. All right, so here's the first move down. We get a reaction here. We kind of, again, it's always where is it? Where is it? All right, so I get this reaction. So this isn't. So right here, I get a little reaction at the 50. It's not to the tick though. So you're looking for precision. This looks fairly good here, better, right? So where's the next 50? So that's definitely a contender, right? So at least we have some confluence here. So we have a zone down here that you would anticipate would hold. All right, so if you were looking to trade the B, which it's not that I've never done it. I would be waiting for the B to the C. But if you on the assumption here that we're done, what do we look like here? Do we have anything else? Well, it doesn't particularly look like it's even done yet here. So what do you have to go off of? You got that oversold RSI. You have no divergence here on your Elliott oscillator. So maybe you're making the case that you're putting in the 1, 2 of the A. Right, 3, 4, 5. Maybe you get that into your A wave. So B would have to roll over here a little bit. So maybe you're making this play into an A. So you'd be anticipating a zigzag. So do we get something like that? So we're going to come up 1, 2. If this holds and you come up here, if you can get a motive way, right? We could have a diagonal. We could have a leading diagonal in the A wave of the B wave. So we could have a diagonal. So this pivot here needs to hold. So right, so I'm never exactly sure why because we just poll them. So why members are curious about this, right? It's the abruptness of that sell-off is not insignificant. But if people are looking for the long side, you've got a very nice risk-reward profile here because the assumption is that pivot is in. If you're taking this trade. So even if you wanted to give it to the 50, but I wouldn't do that, right? So here's your pivot. If you're taking this trade off of the idea that this is 1, 2, that pivot should not break, right? So there you can get your 6.5 to 1. So even, see how we look on an hourly. So do here, we can pull this off. So do you have enough for a 1-2 there? Well, you might. So you're through the 50. Let's get the measured on. So, oh, interesting. All right, so what do? We just hit the golden zone. So that becomes actually quite tradable. All right, so we've hit. So, but the assumption is that the low is in. The A wave low is done, and that's 1-2. So you could actually trade that. Let's get a long on here. Could be a buyer in here. Well, that's our target here for our wolf range here. You can put, depends how aggressive you want to be. How much do you love this setup? How much do you love eBay? You want to go a tick under the low? Well, you got roughly 5-1. You want to be a tick under the 786. Right, we know they can go that low. We're going to be a tick under the 7. Well, there's 10-1s, right? So a relatively low risk trade setting up right there. Understanding that you're going counter trend. So we know the trend is down at the moment. So you're trying to play from the into the third of the A wave of the B wave. Right? I've certainly done it. Right? I don't do it in equities as much, but something I've done in futures many times. So you're trying to get this. So you're trying to get this move here into, so here's the negative 100 from here will be right on top of the 1618. So you're trying to play a 1-2, trying to get the third of the A wave of the B wave. It's probably not a trade as I sit here looking at it that I would take, but I don't dislike the sell at the B wave here. Now, if you have a particular inclination to get long in eBay, that's certainly the risk reward is favorable. All right, well, so why not 10-1? What's your risk? So golden zone is at, I'll call it 20. I'll call it 28. 27, so you've got a $2 swing there in the risk, so that you can do the math, right? So if you're hurt, right, if you get stopped out, what's the impact, right? Can you keep it under 2% of your account? That's just a good guideline. Down here on the hourly, well, again, still there's no divergence here, so right, we've got a fresh low in that oscillator here from this pivot here, from this area, so it's not great here, and then you didn't quite make the 50, so there's the possibility here that this is just in the process of finishing, and that this is just some sort of so this may be a 1-2, oh shit, this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, you're going down for a 5 that would break that low, get us close to the 50. So, right, of all the possible trades that are on the board, that's not necessarily one that I'd be pursuing. But if there's a reason people are asking for this. So if you're looking for a long in eBay, well, there's the first one. There'll be more, right? So you could wait and see if you get that reaction and trade from the 4 to the 5, knowing that all you're doing is putting in the A wave of the B wave. All right, so let's go back out. Think about where we are in the daily. So if the A is in, we're trying to trade just the, right? It's too small at this point to be anything other than the A wave of the B wave, because we're anticipating the B wave to be up here between the 50 and the 618. So if you're buying down here, it can't be A, B, well, shit, anything's possible, right? Can be, but it's less probable, right? So what were we looking for? Not what's possible, but what's probable. What's most probable, given where we sit right here, is that we're just trying to carve out the A wave of the larger B, as I just was drawing, right? So A, B, C into the B before we come down, right? This, I think, of your options here, this is the better trade, right? It's better payday if it's right. So this trade here is the short side of it. A lot of people don't like to short equities here, but if you know how to do that, right, and you have the resources to do that, because you're gonna have to borrow the stock. I'd do it with an option myself, or with an option spread, right? So knowing that if this goes beyond, so the idea being if we come here and we get beyond the 786, you wouldn't want to give that. So what's your risk reward on the short side there? All right, so maybe you catch something like that. Going down here to this target, let's go 618. Well, there's 5.6 to 1. Of the two, rather than try and get into this where you're having to trade eBay on the 60-minute, I would defer to the larger pattern, which sets up the B into the C. Now, if we do the B into the C, I sure as hell like that. That I do like, right? Because that's a 2, potentially a 2 into a 3. Again, we don't know where that. Well, let's pull back out here. Is it gonna let me do it? Oh shit, I may not. All right, so this would be, so potentially now, if this, on the assumption that we're complete here and we're putting in the ABC, we'd be buying into the golden zone. If this is done, if this is a 1 and this is a 2, we're buying into the third. Right? Can eBay go that high? Well, here's, so we'd be talking about eBay at roughly, going up well over 100. Right? We'd be buying down here in the 20s. Right? Even just a move back to challenge this high at, call it 50. Right? From down here in the 20s, that's not a bad looking trade. So that's what I see there, guys. Again, if you're itching to get long, there's a trade there. If you're not in a hurry, I'd wait for the B into the C, and then I would be aggressive on if you got that. Right? That's a lot of ifs, but that's how I would approach it. All right, guys, I'll wrap there. We do have some interesting things going on. We've just set up some trial memberships here. We're doing, I think, a 3-day trial. Shit, I got to check with my marketing guys. We're doing some sort of a trial where you can get, I think it's $7 for 3 or 4 days. I can't remember, to tell you the truth. But we do have a trial membership going on. So if you want to learn more, you can always just visit us on Twitter or send us a DM or send us an email. We're happy to explain how we're working that. All right, guys, that's it for today. See you later.